You've followed the rules. You've kept your head down, striving to be good, honest, reasonable, and still you feel powerless. People trample over your silence. They twist your kindness into a weakness. You remain loyal while they stay calculating. You show your heart, but they sharpen their knives in response. They don't care how good you are. They care only about how much control you have. You've lived like a man, but men, every day, are broken. What survives? Something else, something colder, something untouchable. Then comes a moment when a man stops asking questions and starts making decisions. When he stops seeking approval and begins becoming the storm others must endure. That moment is your rebirth. And in that moment, Machiavelli would call it one thing God mode. No emotion, no guilt, no second guessing. Just pure strategy, wrapped in silence and delivered without mercy. You become the one they can't read, can't predict, can't touch. This isn't divinity, it's domination. This video isn't meant to motivate you. It's meant to change the way you think. To kill the obedient version of you, to awaken the part that commands without raising its voice, moves without being seen, and bends outcomes to its will. Machiavelli didn't wait for power, he built it. And now, you will too. Before you can become powerful, you must first destroy the part of you that needs to be seen. The need for recognition is your first weakness, and it's one your enemies will weaponize against you. The moment you crave recognition, you surrender the power you might have otherwise held. The hunger for applause is a flaw, a vulnerability that people will exploit to undermine your control. Machiavelli understood this well. He witnessed rulers fall not because they lacked strength but because they sought credit. They longed for validation, praise, admiration, and adoration from others. But the moment you seek validation, you give people leverage over you. That's where the shift happens. God mode begins with invisibility. Not physical invisibility, but psychological invisibility. You stop acting for applause. You stop seeking admiration. You stop needing anyone to acknowledge your greatness. Instead, you act for results quietly, strategically, with a clear focus on your endgame. You no longer need to be seen because your actions will speak for you. The truth is that it's better to be feared than loved if you can't be both. But before the world can fear you, you must first stop fearing its judgment. The moment you stop caring about what people think of you, you're no longer giving them power over your life. You stop being the slave to the opinions of others. Here's a bitter pill to swallow. People won't appreciate your moves until they need you. They won't see the full extent of your power until it threatens them. They won't respect your silence until they realize it's the force that's pulling their strings. So, let them talk. Let them underestimate you. Let them believe you're irrelevant, insignificant. All the while, in silence, you build leverage. A man who craves recognition will always reveal his hand too early. He'll speak when he should stay quiet. He'll try to appear powerful rather than be powerful. That's not God mode. That's ego, disguised as strength. Ego is your enemy. The need for recognition, applause, or admiration makes you predictable and easy to control. It's when you stop needing validation from others that you can truly take control. You want real power? Then you start moving like a ghost. You detach from image. You detach from applause. You detach from needing anyone to see or acknowledge your greatness. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be undeniable. And that comes from actions with consequences, not from emotions tied to explanations. Real power isn't about being loud. It isn't about constantly proving yourself. It's about doing what needs to be done, regardless of whether anyone sees it or not. It's about being the storm, not the person caught in it. The more invisible your motives, the more dangerous your presence becomes. People won't see you coming. And that is the most effective form of control being unpredictable. You don't need to shout. You don't need to convince. You simply change the outcome, and they wonder how you did it. You want real power? Then you start moving like a ghost. You detach from image. Detach from applause. Detach from needing anyone to see your greatness. You're not here to be light. You're here to be undeniable. And that comes from actions with consequences, not emotions with explanations. Real power isn't earned through showing off or trying to prove something. It's about being strong without ever needing to say it. The moment you chase the applause, you're already losing the battle. You're allowing others to dictate your worth. You stop needing validation from others because you know your worth. You don't need the world to acknowledge your greatness, because your actions will make them acknowledge it. You are building something that doesn't require praise to exist. It simply is. The more invisible your motives, the more dangerous your presence becomes. You don't need to shout to make a statement. You don't need to convince anyone that you're capable. You simply change the outcome, and they wonder how you did it. They'll talk, they'll analyze, but they won't have a clue. And that is the essence of power. Making things happen without ever showing your hand. You can shift entire outcomes, and they won't even realize it until it's too late. You don't need to raise your voice to control people. The most powerful force in any room is not the one who is the loudest. It's the one who makes the room feel different. You only need to control what they feel when you walk into the room. That feeling must be fear, not terror, not rage fear. The subtle kind. The kind that makes them think twice before speaking. The kind that forces hesitation before they cross your boundaries. The kind that makes them lower their eyes the moment yours meet. Fear is the purest currency of power. It's not something you manipulate openly. It's the presence of a man who doesn't need to say a word, yet the room feels different when he steps inside. Fear is the currency that doesn't shift with public opinion or time. It creates order when morality fails. It doesn't bend. It doesn't compromise. It commands respect without explanation. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He saw that in a world full of soft ideals. It's the hard truth that endures. Men have fewer scruples in offending one who makes himself loved than one who makes himself feared. Why? Because love invites assumption, familiarity, and weakness. But fear true controlled, fear commands caution, respect, silence. You no longer care how they feel about you. You only care about what their nervous system does when they think of you. You must become the one who is impossible to ignore. The moment they hear your name, they should feel the weight of expectations. They should remember the power of your silence, the discomfort of being studied. You don't threaten people with your words. You condition them with your presence. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. They expect the same behavior from you. You smile when they expect it. You talk when they want answers. You react when they provoke. But this is the cycle you break. This is the moment when you start to move differently. Your silence should make them paranoid. Your approval should be rare. And when you do approve, it should feel like an honor. Your reactions should be calculated, not emotional. You're not here to please. You're here to change the game. Never let them know what you're thinking. They must guess. They must project. They must fear being wrong. And when they fear being wrong, they will adjust their behavior to avoid triggering you. They will walk on eggshells. They will second-guess themselves. You are conditioning their nervous systems to obey, even when you say nothing. You're not acting out of cruelty. You're acting out of design. So, here is the shift. You no longer care how they feel about you. You only care what their nervous system does when they think of you. Your presence should become a trigger. The moment they hear your name, they should feel the weight of expectations, the memory of your silence, the discomfort of being studied. You don't threaten people. You condition them. You shape how they think and feel about you without them even realizing it. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. They expect you to act in a certain way, and when you do, they use that against you. You smile when they expect it. You talk when they want answers. You react when they provoke. This predictability makes you an open book. an easy target. But this is where you break the cycle. You stop playing their game. Instead of reacting to their expectations, you become unpredictable. You become the man they can't figure out. You keep them on edge, constantly guessing what you'll do next. Your silence should make them paranoid. Your approval should be rare, and when it comes, it should feel like an extraordinary event. Your reactions must be carefully calculated, deliberate. You should never act on impulse or emotion. Every move you make must serve a greater purpose, tactical, not emotional. Your unpredictability will cause discomfort. It will make them uneasy. It will force them to question their assumptions about you. This is not cruelty. This is design. You are conditioning their nervous systems to obey even when you don't say a word. The uncertainty you create in them will work to your advantage. They'll second-guess themselves, question their every move, and most importantly, they will fear being wrong. To keep fear alive, you must be calm and composed the vast majority of the time, 95% of the time. But you must also be capable of being merciless when the time is right. Your mercy should be rare, but it should carry a weight that makes people stop and think before crossing you. When someone crosses a line, you don't explode in anger. You don't whine. You don't engage in petty arguments. Instead, you deliver consequences, and you deliver them with precision. A denied opportunity, a removed connection, a quiet exile from your circle. The consequences should be clean, cold, and final. You must make it clear that there is no room for second chances. That single moment of action should be enough to leave a lasting impression. You will reshape their entire approach to you in that instant. This is how you become someone they must calculate around. You don't need to yell. You don't need to throw a tantrum. You make them fear crossing you simply by showing them what happens when they do. Your actions speak louder than words. There is nothing more powerful than a man who disappears when he's expected to show up and shows up when no one is prepared. Absence creates tension. Tension creates fear. Most people use attention to feel important. But you use absence to build power. You know the power of leaving things unfinished. You leave conversations hanging, and you walk away from disrespect without explanation. You delay your response just long enough for silence to speak louder than words. They'll start to think about you more when you're not around. They'll wonder where you are, why you're not responding. They'll analyze your silence. They'll question your motives, and in doing so, they'll shift their focus to you. When you're not in the room, your influence multiplies. Your absence becomes your presence. The more they seek answers, the more powerful you become. Power doesn't chase, power haunts. The more mysterious your presence, the more careful they become. Every move you make, or don't make, should leave them wondering. The more they speculate, the more control you have over them. Explaining is a form of submission. When you justify your decisions, you give others the illusion that they have a say. They don't. Let them wonder. Let them question your motives. Let them talk. And while they do, you remain above it. Untouched, unbothered. You're not here to justify yourself. You're not here to explain. And that's exactly why they'll start to fear you. They'll fear what they don't understand. That's how gods are, made through silence, not sermons. Machiavelli's God mode is not loud. It's not chaotic. It's not violent. It's clinical. It's deliberate. It's psychological. You don't need to shout to dominate. You don't need to wave your power around. You just need to condition people's nervous systems until they no longer think of you as just a man. They'll begin to see you as a presence. A force they don't want to offend. The more visible your power, the more vulnerable it becomes. The more they see you pulling the strings, the easier it is for them to cut them. The highest form of domination is done in silence. It's in making them feel the consequences of your presence without you ever needing to say a word. Never explain. Never defend. Explaining is a form of submission. When you justify your decisions, you give others the illusion that they have a say. They don't. You don't owe anyone an explanation. When you start justifying yourself, you become vulnerable. You begin to seek approval. And that is where the cracks start to form. The moment you explain yourself, you lower your guard and give away your power. You are telling them that their opinion matters, that their thoughts influence you. You've given them a place to stand in your world. Let them wonder. Let them question your motives. Let them talk about you. You remain above it all, untouched, unbothered. You're not here to prove yourself to anyone. You're not here to show your worth. You've already proven it in the silence you command. You have built your reputation in the shadows, and that's where it should stay. The more they question you, the more they fear what they don't understand. That's how gods are made. Through silence, not sermons. You don't need to speak to be feared. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to wave your power around for it to be recognized. You simply exist, and that is enough. Your presence is the declaration. Your silence is the statement. Machiavelli's God mode is not loud. It is not chaotic. It is not violent. It's clinical. It's deliberate. It's psychological. You don't need to announce your power. You need to embody it. It's not about being seen. It's about making them feel your influence without you lifting a finger. You don't need to shout to dominate. You just need to condition people's nervous systems until they no longer think of you as just a man. They don't even need to recognize your physical presence. You become a force, an idea, a power they can't escape. It's not about noise. It's about control. The more visible your power, the more vulnerable it becomes. The more they see you pulling the strings, the easier it is for them to cut them. When they can see everything you do, they have the power to stop it. But when they don't know your next move, when they can't predict what you'll do next, you hold the upper hand. The highest form of domination is done in silence. It's the ability to control without lifting a finger, to change the course of events without ever being in the spotlight. The most powerful people don't need to constantly remind others of their power. It's in their absence that they're most feared. It's in their silence that they command the most respect. You don't need to make a scene. You don't need to argue. You don't need to be right. You just need to make sure your actions speak louder than any words. And you need to make sure the people around you know that. When they challenge you, there will be consequences. You don't explain your decisions. You don't defend your actions. You let the results speak for themselves. When you act with purpose. Every move is calculated. Every word, every gesture is deliberate. The more unpredictable your actions, the more powerful your presence. The less people can read you, the more they fear the unknown. And fear is the foundation of control. Machiavelli never admired the loud ruler. He admired the shadow behind the throne, the man who never spoke in public, but whose words shaped the lives of thousands. The one no one could attack because no one could prove he was even there. That's true, power being the invisible force that moves the world without ever needing to be seen. If you want real power, you stop trying to be seen as powerful. You stop craving attention. You stop trying to show everyone who's in charge. You vanish from the frame, but your influence remains in every corner. You've moved so strategically that your absence creates as much of an impact as your presence ever could. You let others take the credit. You let them draw attention. You're not there for the accolades. You're there to create outcomes. Quietly. Without applause. Without evidence. You don't give orders. You guide. You offer subtle suggestions. But you never have to force anything. You allow things to unfold naturally, all while keeping control. A single conversation here, a fleeting glance there, and then you disappear. While they argue, you observe. While they fight, you calculate. While they chase recognition, you build control. Brick by brick, behind their backs. They won't realize what you've done until it's already too late to resist. And when they do, you'll still be out of reach. Control is not about noise. It's not about being the loudest, the fastest, or the most aggressive. It's about presence. Your words don't have to echo. Your decisions do. The moment you walk into a room, they feel it. They don't need to hear you speak. They feel the weight of your thoughts on them. You control the room by how you move within it, by how you carry yourself, by how little you reveal about yourself. Never let them see your hand. Never reveal your strategy. Only let them see the effects of your thinking. When a man walks into the room and demands control, that's insecurity. When a man sits quietly while the room changes itself around him, that is a ruler in disguise. You shape the world around you without moving a muscle. You make others move for you without them ever knowing they've been moved. You bend reality with your silence, your decisions, and your presence. You don't need to command loudly. You simply make them follow, and they don't even realize they've been led.